The meetings are very open, and people are invited to sort of make comments, and all views are welcomed, and nobody's ever closed down. So I think in that point, the board that I'm a member of, I think is very inclusive, and people are encouraged to speak up and to sort of comment on the information and policies and processes that are being put forward. But I suppose that's my own experience, because I'm quite used to being on big committee groups and, never particularly worried about vocalising opinions. Whether or not that's a view shared by all members of the board, I don't really know. My experience of being on the board is that not everybody contributes all the time. There are a lot of people that perhaps don't really say very much. So whether that's a function of the kind of environment and the dynamic, being quite a large group and often presented with quite complex information, that could be a barrier. So, one suggestion around that could be to ask people in advance to sort of prepare responses to certain things that have maybe cropped up within the day. So, for example, if there's been a poor set of results in one subject area, or there's been trouble recruiting in a particular area, people could be in advance be asked to think about it, so that it gives them a little bit of time to prepare, maybe if they're feeling a little bit reticent to put forward ideas. I think the selection process needs to be a lot more open, and I think I have suggested before that perhaps they could advertise for roles rather than... I was asked by the previous incumbent from the university if I wanted to become the representative on the board, and that was kind of seconded by the chair. So that, the university position was never advertised formally. It was a kind of networked appointment. So again, if that's going on throughout the board, a recruitment process, I don't think that is particularly transparent or open. It's probably very difficult to get people to volunteer, and they have to have people with the right skill set, but it's perhaps going broader than the kind of social friend professional networks I think that currently exist. That would give a more representative feel to the board. Say for example the college does interact quite a lot with employers for apprenticeships and for work experience for students. Therefore, that could be an opportunity of advertising and publicising the opportunities that exist to get involved in college decision-making, like formal positions on the board, or, being advisory participants in decision-making, perhaps at senior leadership team level. So, you could utilise the networks that already exist to try and, get at that diversity, get a wider range. I think I also just suggested at a workshop that we might sort of link with community groups. So, for example, in our city location, we've got quite a big Eastern European kind of community that will engage with the college in terms of, sending students to the college, and maybe directly going out to those kind of community groups, be they religious or ethnic groups or social groups, to raise awareness of the possibility of getting involved and to encourage people to kind of apply, would be another way, I think, to diversify the membership that we currently have. I think that training is really, really important. I think that continuous training, but also having somebody on the board that's the constant sort of reminder of diversity, equality and diversity issues as well. So having somebody on the board with that in their brief is a key thing. And I know we currently have that on our board, but maintaining that and making sure that person, has access to the right information, the right training to ask the right questions, I think is really important. Otherwise it can be easily hidden and forgotten.